Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. So today we get to take a look at the 2024 BMW M3 Competition xDrive. Huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this sedan for me today. Take a look at their website, that link is down in the description. This M3 is finished off in speed yellow, which is a $4,500 option, bringing the total MSRP up to $108,000. Now underneath the hood, this is powered by the 3-liter twin power turbo inline 6-cylinder. It's paired to the 8-speed automatic, pumping out 503 horsepower, 479 pound-feet of torque. That power sent through the xDrive all-wheel drive system, propelling this 3,800-pound sedan from 0 to 60 in 3.4 seconds. It has a top speed of 180 miles an hour. It also has a fuel capacity of 15.6 gallons. You'll expect to see around 16 miles per gallon in the city, 22 out on the highway. This also has a wheelbase of 112.5 inches. Its overall length is 189.1. It has a width of 74.3, a height of 56.5, and its ground clearance measures in at 4.8 inches. Now this particular model also has the performance suspension, so it is a little bit lower than without having that, of course, so we do have a little bit lower of a ground clearance for this model. But as we work our way back to the front, with the yellow and all of the gloss black, it gives it a really nice contrast. Now there's the forward-facing camera just in between the kidney grills. There's the M3 comp badge. Plenty of cutouts provide a lot of cooling to that engine. There's also parking sensors up front, and then a dark housing for the headlight housings themselves. Everything is LED for the headlights, high beams, DRLs, and turn signals. And then this model also has the carbon fiber front splitter along with the carbon fiber accents in those inlets there. There's also inlets on the far edges of the bumper, but the carbon fiber definitely gives it a great look. So that is an optional piece. Now the lines from the grille also extend their way into the hood there, just to blend it in a little nicer. And then as we work our way back to the side, this has a staggered setup for these gloss black wheels. They're 19 by 9.5, 20 by 10.5. There's also the M Sport brakes just behind them, finished off in black for this particular model. Now there's more gloss black in the lower side skirt. Would be really nice to see that in carbon fiber. There's gloss black for the M3 Competition badge, carbon fiber for the power folding side mirrors, which have a camera and a turn signal, and then carbon fiber for the roof. There's also more gloss black surrounding the window trim, which matches the gloss black in the lower section there, and then a really nice line in the bodywork just above that. Now in back, this has carbon fiber for this small trunk mounted spoiler. There's the backup camera, LED taillights, all of the parking sensors, and then there's a combination of gloss black for most of this rear, along with the carbon fiber diffuser with some fins in between that quad tip dual exhaust. Now we can take a listen to it because it does have remote start. And then you can also triple tap on that lock button to shut it off as needed. And then you can either use the button on the key fob or up underneath to open up the power trunk. Now being a sedan, this has a good bit of space to make this practical. There's a storage bin on the driver's side as well as on the passenger side, and you can even fold down these back seats. So pull on both of those tabs, and that's going to give you a lot more interior space for some larger items. Now there's no storage underneath the floor, so there's no spare tire for this model. And then up top you can close and lock the vehicle with those controls. Now as we work our way to the interior, you just heard it lock. You can grab all 4 door handles to lock and unlock this car. And for the interior on this model, we have the black leather. There's also the Harman Kardon audio, brushed aluminum accents, interior lighting, as well as some storage in that lower section. And there's also the color stitched onto those seat belts, which is a nice touch. Now at 5'10", I have a good bit of space. There's no storage pockets behind both front seats, however, but you do get some climates in the middle with those adjustments and 2 auxiliaries. And then I have about 1 inch or so of headroom here. So for its size, I'm pretty comfortable. I could ride around town and I don't really have any complaints. The one complaint I will say is there's no cup holders in the middle. You can fold down this seat though, where you get an armrest. You just don't have additional cup holders right in the middle there. But they are pretty large in the door panel there to fit your drinks. And then it's pretty open in the back for the size of this car. And then as we work our way to the front seats, the door panel is just like the rear. but there's the addition of the memory seating adjustments, your side mirror controls, all of the window adjustments, and the trunk release is located at the bottom. Now M3 is also down on the door sill, and then we have a beautiful set of seats with the M3 logo there. There's also some Alcantara, the leather, all the stitching. They are all automatic with the one manual adjustment for the leg support there. And then being a little bit lower, it's not all that hard to get into. We have the solid black leather steering wheel with all the carbon fiber accents, all the stitching. It's a heated steering wheel as well. Cruise control settings are located on the left. On the right side, there's volume as well as tuning. You have Bluetooth and voice commands, and then a control for the gauge cluster. With the M3, you also get M1 and M2, as well as the massive carbon fiber paddle shifters. But let's fire this back up and take a listen to how this sounds. And then coming back to the gauge cluster, you'll notice on the left side there's miles per hour as well as the fuel gauge. On the right side there's the tach and your engine temperature. Now if I push this button right in the middle, this is where you can pull up some content now, where you can scroll through all this information just depending on what you need to see. So you can pull up the map so you can view that in full screen. There's also setup. So this is coordinating with M1 and M2. So the vehicle is in efficient or comfort right now. If I go to M2, now we can put everything into Sport Plus. You can also go into your engine here, monitor that information along with your tires. You can look at sport displays, so live readouts for horsepower and torque. There's also a G-force meter. You have your audio as well. And then you can scroll over to the head-up display. So that's going to show you a standard view with your miles per hour and speed limit sign. Then you can also look at directional view. It'll add the compass. Reduced view is the same as standard there. So you have a few different settings located there. Now over on this left side, there's all the headlight adjustments, a little bit of storage with one air vent. Leather covers the entire dash for this model. And then looking at the infotainment system, you can push on the home button where we have all of these widgets that you can easily scroll through. You can even add some as needed, depending on what you'd like to get into. And then on this left side, you have shortcuts into a lot of apps. So you can get into Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, you can get into your seat comfort, your ambient lighting, several icons that you can quickly adjust. Now you can also get back and pull up your music, and then you can even get into your phone and pull the navigation up in full screen. Now in the lower section, you have shortcuts to your climate menu, where you have your heated and ventilated seats, your temperature adjustments are on both sides, and then you have quick shortcuts to get back into that information. Now you can also use the controls down below to further go through that. So there's all of these shortcuts that allow you to do everything I just did. You just don't have to use it as a touchscreen system. Now there's carbon fiber underneath that with more brushed aluminum, 2 air vents in the middle. There's power and volume and tuning, as well as some more AC adjustments, and then more carbon fiber for this lid. Now if I open that up, there's wireless charging with auxiliaries and cup holders, more brushed accents on both sides. And then if we put this into reverse, we can get back to the camera that you previously saw. So there's shortcuts, there's even the 360 view. Really neat to see that we have the same color on the screen as the car itself. There's also another top-down view if you need to use that. Now this model is also equipped with the automatic parking as well as the backup assistance. And then we can go into drive. When you do that, simply just push the shortcut button, and now you can pull up the forward-facing camera in full screen. Park is located on the backside, as well as being able to adjust how the transmission shifts. There's your traction control, parking sensors, engine start stop. M mode is how you can actually change the gauge cluster. So sport and track are going to be relatively similar as far as the gauge screen goes, where you have how the vehicle is set up, some vitals on one side, and then the tach is going to appear on the head-up display. Now putting it into track mode is just going to shut off this screen. Everything else is going to remain the same. Setup is also the shortcut to get into M1 and M2. So this is how you can preset them so that way you are ready to go. Now there's the exhaust note, auto hold, and the e-brake. A little bit of storage with some auxiliaries, and then plenty more storage in the glove box there. Garage door buttons are also underneath the rear view mirror, as well as dome lights that are up top. And then here's a look at visibility. It's very easy to see over both shoulders. The pillars in the back are very thin, so you can even look over that left side very easily. As we set off now behind the wheel for the BMW M3, I get to drive this quite a lot, surprisingly. But what I haven't been able to do yet is, one, show this color here. I've never seen a BMW in this yellow. I think it looks really, really good, especially out in the sunlight. But number two is some of the performance features that this particular model has, including the performance suspension. So pretty much every M3 that I've ever been able to review has had just the normal suspension. This performance suspension is about a $3,000 option, and so far it's kind of hard for me to tell. It does feel a little bit stiffer. I was in an M3 last week, and so I'm trying to kind of do that back to back in the week there. But it doesn't feel backbreaking, harsh, anything like that, especially in efficiency and all of that. But once we put it into M2 and we take some of these turns here, this is really where that's going to shine. I mean, I didn't even move in this seat. The car was very well planted, and I'm just going at normal speeds. So this performance suspension is going to be a huge benefit as far as more performance style driving than what I'm doing today. But as far as just driving it like normal, it's not something like track only. This is something that you could still daily drive and have some fun with. So really, those are the biggest differences, but this is one of the most expensive that I have reviewed, and that color has a lot to do with that in the MSRP. But the M3 is a fun sedan to drive. Real quick on me calling this a family sedan, because I've had a lot of comments about that. This is a practical sedan. Regardless of its performance, this is a practical sedan that you can drive. It just so happens to have a crazy amount of power and performance. So yes, this is a family sedan. I would put my kids' car seats in the back and have a vehicle that I can have fun with and still have the family with me. So let's give it a small acceleration. And just a mild acceleration, we're up to speed. And that was with the transmission and the quickest shifts. And that's another thing that I love about this. With it being something that you can daily drive, you can tone this down to just drive in traffic. You can drive in rush hour traffic and have the have the transmission shift how it should in those situations. And then you can have it shift in your performance driving situations as well. So it's a really good blend to drive this every day. It would be a lot of fun no matter what style driving you are doing. And you have the option to go into that M drift analyzer. So I think you can put this into rear wheel drive, so that way you can drift with your M3 and go just to that next level if that's something that you choose to do in your six-figure sedan. But it's not all that loud either with the exhaust on at the moment. It's what you would expect, I guess, for a family style vehicle like this. I do wish it was a bit louder, but it still has a good sound to it nonetheless. Definitely pretty good under those accelerations. We have the paddle shifters too, which are really nice. We also have these sport bucket seats. They're one step below the full carbon fibers, which I would get because I've been in them before and I think it's a really good seat. But this is something more usable and suitable for daily driving. And from second gear, here we go. Now with it in the quickest shifting setting, you can feel some of the shifts. Now I'm short shifting as well, so it might be different when you really rev this out. But if we tone it back now to basically the slowest shifting setting, this is something for daily driving. We'll give it another acceleration. Even with the short shifting that I did, a lot smoother than in the quickest shifts. Now, it's not good or bad either way. It's just going to help adapt the vehicle to the driving that you're doing for the day. Personally, I like a little bit of that drama in the shifts. So when they're going through them, they're quick, but you can feel them too, which just gives you that added driver engagement. And this is what it's like to be behind the wheel for the BMW M3. Such a fun vehicle. There's also a huge spread in the MSRP and the different trim levels that you can go with, because you can get a manual transmission as well. You can also get the competition with rear wheel drive or the all-wheel drive like we are in right now. So, and the color options too. So there's a whole lot that you can get for this to best suit it for your needs and what you want. But every time I drive these, it is a car that I really want to own at some point. Personally, I would want to go with the manual transmission, but it's so much fun to row through these gears just as much. So it's a hard one for me. I think I would want to go with the manual. I haven't been in one of those in quite some time, but the M3 in general is a really cool sedan. If you're looking for performance, you want to bring your friends with you, you have a vehicle that you could take to the mountains and just have a blast with other people. So it's a very practical vehicle with this type of performance to it. And that is going to wrap it up for the 2024 BMW M3 Competition. Once again, a huge shout out to Hendrick BMW Northlake for providing this very unique M3 for me today. Check out their website. That link is down in the description. And if you enjoyed today's video, give it a huge thumbs up. Consider smashing that subscribe button so you don't miss out on our daily uploads. And I will see you all in the next video.